everybody can be so cool that they have their own jingle intro.
Fair Talk of Minnesota with John Dvorak of the Rice County Fair. Fair Talk is brought to you by Faribault Insurance Agency, Terra Longevin, Towns Lock and Key of Faribault, Tim's Trucking of Morristown, IBEW Local Union 110, and the Craig Keller Insurance Agency of Near Strand. Now here's your host, KDHL Farm Director, Jerry Grossman.
Yes, Fair Talk 2018. The Rice County Fair will soon be here. John Dvorak is in studio, brought a special guest along. John, it's counting down.
It's counting down, Jerry, and hopefully with all this rain we've been having, it's getting it out of its system, and come July 17th, we're going to have sunshine for 6 straight days and beautiful 75-degree weather. I put my order in, as you can tell, and so we'll see what happens.
And maybe a half an inch of rain during the Rice County Fair between 12 and 3 o'clock.
Well, I didn't want to push. I didn't want to push things.
You didn't want to get too greedy. Yeah?
I didn't want to get too greedy.
Also in studio is a special guest that John brought along, Jeremy Jeske.
That's right. Jeremy is part of the Minnesota Suffolk Association, and every year they've been coming to our fair now. I think they've been coming for about the last 8 years plus, and they put on a wonderful state Suffolk show. A lot of great sheep that come in, and you know, Rice County Fair is just so fortunate that we can have their group come in. It fills up a whole barn with all these fantastic sheep, and they have, every one of them sheep is good that everybody could take one of them home and put them into their flock, and they would do good by it. So you know, they put on a fantastic show, and it's just, you know, part of being a way to promote agriculture at the Rice County Fair, and we're happy that the Suffolk Association is part of it.
And Jeremy, of course, you raise sheep yourself in addition to your real job, but your family's involved in it too, which is kind of neat.
Yeah, one of the nice things about our state show is not only for those of us as producers to showcase our animals, but we have a nice junior show on Sunday, and really gets the youth involved. And you know, we got 30-some youth in our breed showing animals and being involved in agriculture. It just kind of makes you feel good about the future of the sheep industry.
Well, and good about county fairs when you see the youth involved in everything, John.
Well, that's exactly right, and you know, we need the youth, and we need them to come on strong, because you know, they're our future.
We aren't quite as young as we used to be, and somebody's going to have to take over.
And that's exactly right. And you know, it's good to see that part of the show and part of the organization taking shape, because you know, it's important that we get our youth involved, and how else to get them involved at an early age to keep them interested and keep them informed on, you know, what's changing in the industry, because there's so many things that are changing in today's agriculture that you know, it's something that if you can stay with it, you know, you're going to change with the times.
Jeremy, we have to take a break for the markets here in about a minute and a half, but were you involved with the State Suffolk Association when we first got going with this great state show at the Rice County Fair?
Yes, I have been. I've been on the board for quite a few years now, and previously we'd held our show out in Windham, and with some scheduling changes we needed a new location, and the Rice County Fair stepped forward with a nice proposal, and it's been just a really good partnership ever since, not only for our open show but our junior show and all of the sheep related activities in between. It's just a really good partnership. And
it's located kind of a convenient part of the state, because you're probably spread all over, interstate, easy to get here.
Yeah, we've gotten really good participation most years. The majority of the top Suffolk breeders in the state are able to participate, and it makes for a nice show.
And it's kind of a family reunion for me, because my neighbor Donnie Dean Grunsky grew up right next door. I get to see him once a year at the Rice County Fair. And then Larry Baumberger from over toward New Ulm was real involved in sheep, and he always comes over, although I see him 2 other times a year, retired FFA advisor, teacher, and also a farmer, because he always goes and helps do the FFA state and national convention. So that's what's so neat about county fairs and these events, that you know, you're going to see certain people every year, and you probably haven't seen them for a whole year.
That's right.
Well, we have to take a quick break for the markets. When we come back, I have a special request of Jeremy, being he has a position of power and influence on the state Suffolk board. Obviously, John, being on the national board, doesn't have enough pull. He can't pull this off. So we'll spring that on Jeremy after the market.
332-2777.
Rice County Fair Talk 2018. Thanks to these sponsors: Faribault Insurance Agency and Tara Langevin, Tom's Lock and Key in Faribault, Tim's Trucking over there in Morristown, the Craig Keller Insurance Agency in Nerstrand, and IBEW Local Union 110. In studios, Rice County Fair Manager John Dvorak and Jeremy Jeske with the Minnesota Suffolk Association. John, that's what the Rice County Fair is all about, those great sponsors that help us publicize everything going on at the Rice County Fair.
That's right. You know, without them, we would have a hard time promoting our fair, putting on our fair, and we're just so thankful that they come to our aid and support us the way they do, and just my hat's off to them, because they do a great job of it, and you know, we work together, and that's part of what this is all about, you know, working together to put on this county fair, and you know, it's 1 week out of the year that everybody can come to the fairgrounds and have a good time.
And it's all about working together, putting on a great fair, but it's also all about having fun too, right?
Well, that's right. It's a lot of work, but at the same time, you know, you don't want to be all work and no fun, and so you know, you try to make it fun and enjoyable, and just makes the week go by that much farther and faster. And I think the fairgoers can really see that if you have a fair board that's enjoying what they're doing, that they're going to put on a good fair and treat everybody right. And you know, that's part of one of the reasons why we try to help out with bringing in these open class shows like we do, you know, with the Suffolk Association. You know, we're just so thankful that, you know, we came to this agreement, and it's been a great partnership, like Jeremy said, for years. And but along, you know, with the Suffolk shows, you know, we do have other open class shows. You know, another big show is on Friday night, our open class jackpot beef show. There's a lot of nice animals that come in for that show too. So you know, and the 4-H put on a great show with all of their
almost every day.
Yeah, almost every day. You know, FFA's in with their shows, putting on exhibits with their animals, and so you know, it's getting tougher and tougher to have some of these shows, because there's less and less people that are in agriculture, that are raising, that are in, you know, with livestock, and so, you know, my hat's off to them for taking the time away from their busy schedules to get animals ready and bring them down to the fair. And you know, that's one nice thing. You know, if you come in on Friday night, these guys that bring in these sheep are working on them constantly. They're trimming them, they're fitting them, they're washing them, and you know, if you want to see how something takes place here at the fair, you know, and the care that these individuals put into these animals, you know, that's the place to be at the Rice County Fair.
Now, another big part of the fair, of course, is fair food. So I have two people involved in the sheep industry here, and Jeremy, John can't seem to help me out. And John, you're on the ASA board, the national board, is that?
That's right.
Okay, and Jeremy, he apparently doesn't have enough clout. I keep harassing him, thinking of all the food vendors, you'd think we could have one that would be serving lamb or lamb chops.
Well, I think that'd be a great idea. I wish I knew of one that I could recommend, but yeah, it's obviously, for those of us who enjoy lamb, it's a fantastic food, and we wish more people could have a chance to taste it.
Now, I have another idea. Maybe we should have a grilling little contest or something like that. During the time when the State Suffolk show was going on, so people that are at the fair can maybe get a little taste, because if it wouldn't be for these two characters, I'd still be one of those that had never tasted lamb. But thanks to these two characters, it got me to, what was it, the Shepherd's Holiday, right, Jeremy?
Yeah, it was a couple years ago at our Shepherd's Holiday, our Celebrate Lamb Social. You were there, and we have photographic evidence of you eating lamb and enjoying it, or so forth.
Yeah, and I like just the lamb, and it was like tacos with lamb. You know, apparently it's really popular to have mint jelly with it.
Well, that's kind of an old thing, and we highly recommend not doing that, because then you don't taste the lamb.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and I'm not a big mint fan to begin with, so I didn't think that was a real great idea. So now, being as how we have two very important people in the sheep industry working on it, maybe we can get something finagled out here. What do you think, John?
Well, I think either that or we give you the name of the grocery store that carries lamb.
I think he's just angling for some more free lamb on his part, is what I
Probably
think.
and the charge card for the Rice County Fair or the State Suffolk Association to pay for it, Jeremy. But that's part of what fairs are about too. Let people try new things. So I think we should work on that, even if it's not a food vendor. And that's what I would love to see, is that lamb is more a mainstay, so that we do have vendors that are doing that. Would be another step for the industry, wouldn't it?
Be a big step for the industry, and especially of an industry as small as ours is. We are a small industry, but I think we're coming on strong. We're trying to come on stronger, and we keep growing, and hopefully one day sheep meat will be in the grocery stores as readily as all of our other meats today. But it's a process that's going to take a while to get rolling, and we're hoping down the line that that's something that'll become a reality.
I get to a lot of county fairs, Jeremy, and it seems like there are more sheep at these shows, and I think part of it is because they aren't really expensive for families to get into, and they don't weigh 1,500 pounds, and they aren't going to get spooked. It's just a great project for younger kids.
Yeah, it is, and you do see that. I go to a lot of county fairs. The 4-H and FFA sheep programs are strong, like you said, because it's an animal that's a little smaller, a little easier to handle for younger kids and get them started, and a little bit less expensive, perhaps in some cases, than maybe a show steer or something like that. But yeah, our junior programs have been strong, and we certainly like to see that and try to do our best to continue that.
And it's a great opportunity. I think kids learn something special when they are responsible for taking care of an animal. I mean, that it's Sunday morning or maybe 4th of July, and the animals still need to be cared for. Even if you only have one or two of them, you have to make sure they have feed and they have water. It's still learning that responsibility.
Well, that's exactly right. I just, I have 2 kids now in high school and junior high, and between their sports and other activities, they still
Dad gets to do chores
well,
most of the time.
Most of the time, but the kids still have to find time to work with their project animals and fit that into their schedule, and so yeah, they learn a little bit about responsibility and time management, and for my kids especially, knowing where their food comes from. We raise pretty much everything we eat, and we're pretty proud of that.
I bet he's got a freezer full of lamb.
Actually, I do. Just filled it up the other day.
We'll have a discussion after the program today. Oh, by the way, Jeremy, have you driven through the Rice County Fairgrounds last day or two? I put a picture up on our website. John wasn't pulling our leg. He actually got this deal done with, I call it the new old barn being built.
That's right. It started taking shape last week. They came in and delivered the building, and the next day they came in and drilled the holes and set the posts. And so I think today they started setting rafters last week until the rain came in, and they kind of had to hold off for the storms that came through. But I came in this morning, and they're in the process of putting the second rafter up, and I'm sure by this afternoon they'll have all the other rafters up. So we're fortunate that hopefully the weather holds out and this can continue going on. But something that we're really looking forward to, and is this barn being built, and I think it's going to be a big attraction, a new attraction to the fair, and we're just excited to see it taking shape.
It's a 1900s era barn. It's a new barn, modern construction, but yet kind of designed to look like an old barn. That's why I called it a new old barn.
That's right. So, hopefully, the plans work out, and we can get everything set up the way we want to get set up, and it'll be something that people can come and enjoy and learn about what farming was like back
even before our time.
Even before our time, even before they had electricity.
Is it going to have like steel on the outside?
No, they actually are. They ordered wood siding. It'll be batten board.
Just like
just like it used to be. So it's going to be exciting to see it take shape, and I hope everything turns out the way we planned, and I think it should, and it'll just be a good experience for everybody.
Well, Jeremy, you'll be heading either back to the office or back to your home office, so make sure you drive through the fairgrounds and make sure that the second or third rafter they're putting up looks straight and true from ground observation.
Yeah, I'll go give it a good once over.
Yeah. Well, at least John is here and he's not trying to put up rafters, so I feel better already.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, we should put a plug in. That was a grant that the Rice County Fair received from the Minnesota Department of Agriculture.
It was. It was a grant that was available to us, and it was a grant that stipulated it had to be used for agricultural purposes. And so we were fortunate that the grant got approved, and hence, we've got a new building at the fair.
It's a good thing Jeremy is here because he just reminded me we need to take a break because Jerry was forgetting again. I get a little carried away. And John never pays attention, so it's a good thing you had Jeremy along to keep us on the straight and narrow.
If you keep talking, you're going to miss your commercial.
I can take a hint. Let's hear from our sponsors, and then we'll continue with today's AM Minnesota program, Rice County Fair Talk 2018.
This is Randy with Tim's Trucking.
People
Those
don't
old buildings
laugh
in a
at
crumble,
that.
now it's time
You
to
make them
crumble.
laugh.
Take them out with Tim's Trucking
That's
Demolition
interesting.
Service. Knock them
Talk
down,
about
build
lamb
them
in the
up.
grocery
We'll
stores.
prepare
My
new
wife and I
buildings
just
that
got back
latest
from New
equipment
Zealand,
all the
and we
aggregates to
stopped
make
in
grade.
the grocery
Fence
store
lines in
there,
the jumbo,
and they
we'll
have
push them up. We've got the
like
whole town
a
sound.
section
Plan
as
it
big as
out
this
and
desk.
install it. We take pride in our rock and
And probably
service.
bigger.
Get your fill with
Floor
Moretown's
to
biggest
ceiling of
rock
lamb,
crew.
different
See our
cuts.
site
Is that
at
right?
timstrucking.com.
Well, let's mention that because in other countries it is.
665-2222.
Well, and then when you get to the Middle East,
Generations
it's
of local farmers
it's their
have
main
depended on the
staple of
great
their
Yeah,
diet.
lamb
It's
and
like
goat,
beef, pork, or poultry for us, isn't it?
Yep, lamb and goat especially over there. Yeah. I was surprised though they don't eat a lot. I mean, you know, they raise a ton. They export like over 90%
of their lamb.
of all their agricultural
Yes.
products because there's not that many people live there.
No, that's why they flood our market.
Keller at the Keller Insurance Agency in Near
I was gonna wear my American lamb hat, but I
334-6550
better not.
to review your farm insurance and experience their policy of
Fair Talk 2018, Rice County Fair Talk, sponsored again by these great folks that wanted to help promote the Rice County Fair. Faribault Insurance Agency, Tara Langevin, Tom's Lock and Key in Faribault. Craig Keller Insurance Agency over there in Bierstrand, IBEW, Local Union 110, and Tim's Trucking in Morristown. In studio with me is Jeremy Jeske with State Suffolk Association and John Dvorak, Rice County Fair Manager. Jeremy, during the break we were talking a little bit about other countries, sheep, goat, lamb, much more major part of their diet. And where did you say you just went to New Zealand?
Yeah, my wife and I just got back a couple weeks ago on a trip to New Zealand and spent a little time in a grocery store there, and just kind of the difference. They had an entire section of their meat case devoted just to lamb, and it was, as a sheep producer myself, it was pretty interesting to see how it was sold and promoted over there compared to how many of our stores here maybe have a small section, if any at all.
And lamb is very versatile too, isn't it? I mean, it can be ground up, it can be grilled. We always think when you say lamb, you think of always the top of the line lamb chops, right?
Yeah, and really that's kind of the one of the big focuses of the sheep industry is making some of the other cuts a little more popular, and what's probably helped us more than anything is lamb has been really popular with kind of the cooking shows and some of the chefs. In some of the cooking magazines, you see lamb used in a variety of ways, and similar to what you experienced at our Shepherd's Holiday, chefs are doing some really unique things with some of the traditionally lower valued cuts of lamb.
And I like beef, I like pork, I like chicken, I like turkey, even fish once in a while, as long as somebody else catches that walleye. John, you can go fishing and I'll help you eat them. But lamb was really good too, so I think it's cool that we have a little bit of variety once in a while.
And that's right, and that's why it's so important to have all these exhibits at a fair. That people can actually come and see the animals and see that they exist, and not only that, but see how they're taken care of and the care that they're given. Because that care that they're given at the fair, they're given the same care at when they're at home too. So I think that's a real big way, a helpful way to start promoting all of our meats. Is you see how animals are taken care of and how they're raised, and it's really, when these shows go on, I mean, when you're standing there, if you don't know anything about the judging part of it, you think, well, they picked the best sheep, but there's a lot that goes into that judge looks for. Why is that animal picked to be the top one? And it's really an interesting education. Is why did that lamb get first place, or why
Well,
did
that's
that
what's
cow
fun,
get
because
first
the
place?
judge at the end of a class usually explains to not only the 4-Hers or the exhibitors in the open class, but then the people are watching, so you can kind of learn a few
Yeah, that's
things.
exactly right. You know, when that judge is talking about muscle, well, you know, what's the muscle? The muscle is the meat that you eat off of the animal, and so you know you're going to look for all those parts, you know, to have the muscles where the muscles need to be, you know, so we know we're going to get a good cut of meat, and you know, that's what the breeding program that you establish is. That's why it's so important, you know, to establish a breeding program in your flock or your herd, you know, so you can keep improving on what you have. And it's very interesting to watch that.
And that's what's neat about almost all the county fairs that I go to. They're still very closely tied to agriculture and promoting agriculture and education. And Jeremy, you live up closer to the metro, but even like the Dakota County Fair, still rooted in agriculture.
Oh, absolutely. And the other thing, as John kind of alluded to, is the county fair is a great place for some of the non-farmers to get a chance to visit with farmers. You know, you don't always get a chance to talk to somebody anymore who works on a farm and actually raises some of the food that we consume. And you know, certainly for folks who maybe have questions or anything like that, the fair is a great place to connect with some people and ask the questions and get the answer right from the source.
Now, you and your kids, you hit a number of county fairs and the state show. And
we do a little bit. We did more when the kids were younger, and now that they're older and in sports, it takes away some of our showing. But we try to do a few shows locally as well as nationally, and you know, get that opportunity.
When you mention the sheep or the goats or the whole industry, I still think it's a little bit smaller. It's not like a pork producer or a cattleman or a dairy farmer or, you know, turkey producer. Or do we have a lot of commercial flocks too?
We do. Well, we do. We probably have more than people think. You know, Minnesota actually has still well over 2,000 sheep producers, so there's more sheep producers than turkey farmers or so forth. You know, the unfortunate part, where I guess it's maybe not the best choice of words, but most of our producers, the average flock size is very small, so it's not a major part of their income. But we do have a number of folks who are raising sheep as either the sole or major part of their income, and in particular, kind of in the southern part of the state, we see some flocks that are a little more business oriented,
commercial something like that.
And so then as you move to the western states, you'll see more and more of that as well.
Yeah, when you think of, especially Southwest, I think of larger sheep ranches.
When you get out west, I mean, that's where 49% of our industry is out in the western states, the southwest states of the United States. You know, they got the perfect environment for it. They got the mountains, they got the rangelands to graze their sheep on, and that's where a lot of most of our sheep come from. And you know, we're having some hurdles to jump over. You know, not only do Jeremy and I know each other from Jeremy coming to the Rice County Fair, but I'm fortunate to serve on the Minnesota Lamb and Wool Producers with Jeremy. Together we're on the board, and we stay up, and we on a lot of national issues. You know, we're on a lot of national boards and committees, and so you know, we kind of hear firsthand, you know, what's happening in the sheep industry, and you know, there's a lot of challenges that the sheep industry is facing, and it's going to go down from the sheep industry into the cattle industry also. So, you know, we have a lot of work ahead of us to work through.
What about wool? That's kind of coming back in popularity, isn't it?
They are. They're finding new ways to use wool. You know,
and process it so you don't put it on and it's kind of itchy. That was kind of the...
That's right. They have new ways that they can treat the wool, where they take away, they have what they call a superwash now, where it helps the wool so it doesn't shrink after you wash it. So, but they're finding more and more sources, you know, to use that wool. A lot of it's going back into expensive cars, you know, where they're trying to find it for the seat, you know, and you take a smaller sheep and it's just the right size to fit for a seat cover on the seat. So they're, you know, I give my hats off to all these companies. You know, they are finding new and more ways to use wool, and it's just part of the program that we need to stay on top of and keep promoting and exceeding with it.
Well, we only have a couple minutes left, but better mention another sign of the Rice County Fair coming up. I went out there to take a picture this morning that I put on our website of the barn being built. They were out there getting ready to redo the asphalt street through the fairgrounds.
They are. We're very fortunate. We fit it into the budget this year, into the county's budget, and they are going to come and grind up the old road and put a new one in there for us. So hopefully we get rid of all the old potholes, and it's just going to make that much more an improvement to the Rice County Fairgrounds.
And the guys are going to be busy sprucing up the buildings. Maybe, I thought they looked great, but maybe there's some things to do there. Of course, there's going to be lawn that needs to be mowed a couple, 3 times more before the fair because of all the rain.
That's right. And so, the guys are out there. In fact, they're out there as we speak and getting things ready and making sure that all the plumbing is working and all the toilets are going to be in shape. So when that day comes, everything hopefully goes off without a hitch.
So we can justify Jeremy coming in here around work time. We better mention that Jeremy's with the Minnesota Agriculture Water Resource Center, right, Jeremy? About 30 or 40 seconds. Of course, I interview you guys quite often.
Sure, yeah, I appreciate that, Jerry. For those who maybe aren't aware, we're a coalition of farm organizations, and we do water quality research and education, and happy to work on behalf of farmers in that certainly a very important area.
And better get a plug in for taking your Green Star survey.
That's right. For those, we have a voluntary optional program, the Green Star Farms Initiative, for those who want to do kind of a self-evaluation at their conservation practices. You can learn more at greenstarfarms.org.
John, we'll plan on getting together again next Tuesday, and our guest will be
Teresa DeMars.
Oh, with Rice County SWCD.
That's right.
Yeah, they have a big part of the fair too, and they've kind of taken over that conservation
They
building.
have, and Teresa's doing a great job with it, and she's kind of taken the role of getting everything set up, and I really think that there's going to be some big improvements in there, and it's going to be something exciting that people are going to be excited to go in that building and see.
Cool. Jeremy, notice how good John is at delegating? Did you notice that?
Absolutely.
That's what you do. You get a lot of people working together. That concludes today's AM Minnesota program. Rice County Fair Talk for 2018.